and welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with your host, Daniel.
And Daniel.
Daniel, I feel like we were wearing this last week. Am I right, or am I right?
No, we're going to be wearing this in the future.
Oh, okay. So we are wearing this in a bit, right? Is that how I understand? Like, so we're playing time stories today.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
We're doing a time loop at the moment.
That's right. We're causing a paradox. It happens. Cat in the box. The cat is dead.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw a great picture on Facebook where it was Schrodinger's cabinet, and it was this glass cabinet, and all of the dishes were falling down. They were hanging against the door itself, and it was like they were both simultaneously broken and not broken. Because as soon as you open it, it is that. That's right. That Time You Killed Me. That's the game we should be playing.
Well, we are doing a top 8 debate right now, and this tends to get heated.
That's right. Speaking of That Time You Killed Me in the future, yeah, we're going to be doing a top 8 debate today, and that is going to be Bruno Cathala games. Woo! Your favorite. I like his stuff pretty well.
He does a lot of good stuff, too.
He does a lot of good stuff, but I feel like I'm going to have to be the voice of reason on this.
Speaking of which, I have an interesting thing. I didn't put it in the news that you'll be seeing in a couple weeks.
Yeah, the one that we have yet to record, of course.
Well, the thing is, it's so fresh. But when I saw this, it got me interested. But it's also with Bauza, which means it's probably going to just be a 2-player game.
Oh, okay.
But it's Antoine Bauza, Repo's production, Bruno Cathala, Lord of the Rings.
Oh. Interesting.
They're going to be doing something in like the Lord of the Rings because I think the tagline was "One ring to rule them all," and I'm like, oh god, those two. Like Seven Wonders Duel was another one they did. I think there was another one. Splendor Duel was another one. Yeah.
Oh no, actually, I don't think Bowser was part of Splendor Duel.
I mean, when those two get together, it's usually a 2-player game.
Usually, yeah. That's right. Well, that's worth. You should say that on the news next time.
No, I already have stuff for that news.
Yep. Oh, I spoiled it. Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
I got nothing on that. So yeah, we get into Bruno Cathala games, our top 8 debate. As you can see, we have our experimental board right behind us. We're gonna be trying that out again today. Again, apologies for the headphone listeners. Right when you know that we're about to pull that off, there'll be some Velcro. We apologize about it, but we're still trying it out. We'll play it all. But yeah. Before we get into that, let's talk, and before we get into our games, honorable mentions, all that stuff, a couple weeks ago, listeners will know that we have been doing a contest for not only 1, but 2 copies sealed of matches from Thing 12. Now, Daniel, tell them why I'm biased.
That's because some bum designed this and you really like him.
Yeah. I'm a fan of the design. It's pretty good. This is by a guy named Daniel McKinley, and if that sounds familiar, screw you, man. So, some bum. No, so I designed this game, yeah. And as a thank you to Thing 12 for publishing it and just for our excitement.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm super stoked. And our friend of the podcast, Adam the Fanatic, right? He Mario Fanatics, he just finally did his re-review now that he has a production copy of that, and he said something that I thought was really, really pleasant. It was a great compliment. He said that what Thing 12 is doing is really pushing the bar as far as what you can do with a simple card game.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't
that
disagree.
production is so over the top. It's amazing. So
and it's really well done and inexpensive, but we were giving away 2 copies.
2 copies.
We have pooled the winners. Do you want to tell them?
Yeah, we'll tell them winners. Let's talk about real quick how we picked our winners. So there was a lot of entries. We picked everybody who is following us on Twitch.tv had a chance to, or automatically had a ticket.
Yep.
Everyone who subscribes to us on YouTube has an automatic ticket. Everyone who follows us on Instagram has an automatic ticket. But then each of those 4 episodes that we had code words, you could email us in with the code words, and that will give you an extra ticket on top of it. Also, if you're subscribing to us on Twitch.tv, that is another 3 tickets on top of that. So there's so many tickets. A lot of people have a chance. And now we're going to announce the winners. So hope you guys are excited. Drum roll. The first winner is a Twitch subscriber. Now, we have not seen them in the chat before, so we want to bring this up. It's Pac-Man Fever. We pulled yours since you're a subscriber on Twitch.
Follower.
Follow on Twitch. I get these all mixed up all the time.
Yeah. We have contacted him. He has a week to
or her
or they have a week to contact us. If not, we'll do a redraw to see whoever gets that game.
Yeah. However, our second winner. First off, congratulations, Pac-Man Fever.
Through the email.
Through email. Yep. Through email. We're very excited about this. Our very own, just so happens to be in the chat, Illuminous. You got it, buddy. You got it. You were legitimately one of our winners. We picked it. It was like It was in
the 200s.
Yeah,
it was
200 something.
It was the one we tagged for the first week of the cycle.
Yeah, that's right. So, Illuminous, I'm very glad that you got a copy. So we'll be reaching out and arranging all that.
So we will have to crack the seal.
If you're okay with me breaking over the plastic, I will gladly sign it for you. Absolutely, Illuminous. You got it. So we'll get that all taken care of. And yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Yeah, exactly. I'll have to check the email to make sure we still have your address, but I'll let you know.
Cool. Sounds good. So we're excited. Oh my gosh, I love giveaways. They're so fun. All right. And the next game that I get published, whatever that is, whenever that is, wherever that is, we'll probably do the same
giveaway,
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can get your Kickstarter copy.
There you go.
That's true. That's true. You can give any copy you want. Yeah. That just put me in a good mood, man.
All right.
I feel like this will be the most jovial, friendly.
That's why I had to take you down a notch by calling you a bum.
That's right. Well, now that I'm excited, let's completely break this string and go into our top 8 debate pretty soon. But before we do, Daniel, what have you been playing lately?
I've been playing a lot, and most recently, I think this past Saturday, I played 7 games, which I was quite excited for. So I got to play a lot, but I'm not even going to be talking about those because I have to pull a month worth of games into this. So there's 2 games I really want to talk about, and it's been a couple weeks since we've actually done what we've been playing lately.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I want to talk about these 2 games because one of them forced me to go ahead and pre-order the reprint of it because I liked it so much. Oh, wow. And this was Scoville. That was the game I've been playing most recently, and I already knew I was kind of gonna back it because I'm a big fan of Trick or Treat Studios. I like what they're doing with the classic games, even though they're untagged under Trick or Treat Studios. I liked what they did with Gold West. That game looks amazing. I still haven't bought myself a copy of that version. But they did pick up Scoville. Actually, that's like their second Tasty Minstrel games that they picked up, now that I think of it, because Gold West was Tasty Minstrel as well. They put Vincent Dutray art on it, which already makes that cover look amazing. But from everything I've read on it, they made it very colorblind friendly. That was my big gripe of the Tasty Minstrel. That was
a big gripe that both of us had.
Yeah, we loved everything about that game, but you and me both were struggling with the way the peppers are. Yep. From what I look like on their peppers, I think they kept the size, but they also wrote the color, like a letter of the color on the actual pepper.
Good.
So they printed like Y for yellow.
Yeah, that's not hard.
No, and I'm like, that makes so much sense to do that. So yeah, I like that version of it. I thought it was a really fun game. I love the interesting choices that you had in that game because you had to like move your character just right. This way you could collect the right amount of peppers that you needed. And it was all just resource management to pick up cards that would give you points here or give you powers there. I loved all that kind of stuff. I did pre-order, like I said, the Tasty Minstrel, the Trick or Treat Studios version of it. So I really suck at this game, but I really liked it. I was not very efficient at this game at all because I kept getting brown chilies which do nothing for you throughout the game. And so, but Scoville, I was happy to play it. I'm happy to have it pre-ordered. I'm hoping to get it here. They said around Gen Con, so I'm hoping about July, early August. I may have to have you pick up my copy of it because I might be out of town when it ships.
That's true. You might. That's okay. And if so, I'll be sure to give it back at some point.
You better.
No, I will.
Well, you better.
I will.
If you want to live.
Pick up your own chili pepper game. I don't care. No. All right, the first game I want to talk about is a game that I hadn't gotten to the table for a really long time. It's technically a children's game, but we played it with
a child.
A room full of adults. And I forgot just how... I pulled this off the shelf because I'm like, I don't want anything to think about too much. I just want to hang out, have a good time, silly game. And man, I really do like this game, and I wish it got more press. It was in a box about the size of a deck box, but it's a racing game. And it's called Sprint. And it's the tortoise and the hare, and I've talked about it a little bit, but just the way it works is so silly. First, you set up the track, which are made up of nice cardboard tiles, and it's this long track that weaves around, and it has some carrot spots on it. Well, it's tortoise versus the hare. We're the tortoise. We're trying to beat the hare. Every turn, the hare is going to move a certain number of spaces. That's kind of an automated system that they do. But we have to try and get the tortoise going as fast as we can. The fastest he'll go is 4 spaces on a single turn.
Okay.
And the way it works is simple. You flip over one of the number cards, and it'll tell you 22, right? It'll tell you an amount. Now, there are 32 cards in the deck. And in one move, you have to take one hand and cut off the top half of the deck, trying to get as close to that number as possible. So if the number is 22, I'm trying to pull off exactly 22 cards.
Oh, God, that's a bad game to be playing with you.
It's cooperative, so it's fine. No, and there was I would get genuinely upset when I was off by 1, but I never went over, because if you go over, even if you have 23 cards, if you go over by 1, he stays. But depending on how close you get to the number without going over, that's how many spaces he moves. If you get exact, it's 4 spaces, 1 fewer. So if I got 21 cards, he would be moving 3 spaces, then 2, then 1, etc. Anything less than that, he just doesn't move.
Mm-hmm.
So some of them are real easy, like 8 cards. You could probably cut 8 cards pretty easily. If nothing else, you can definitely cut like 4 or 5, which would be at least a movement of 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And then you flip over a card, or the top card of the pile you picked up, and that's how many spaces the rabbit moves, or the hare moves. Automated system works really well. Super silly.
Nice.
And it's just one of those things that you just kick back. You're like, all right, I have to do 16. That's exactly half of 32. Here we go. Ah, yeah. And then you count it out, and then everyone gets really excited when you get up to 14, 14, 15, 16. 17. Oh man, and then like stupid tortoise. Yeah, it's so fun. I really like it. It doesn't have any thing as fun as it is, but it's from Blue Orange Games. It comes in a little box about that big. Nice components.
Nice.
I love it. The Sprint. I'm so glad I got that back to the table.
All right, so the last game I'm going to talk about today is a game that we played as a group on our Wednesday game night. I don't remember who's. I think this was Dammit Dom's pick that week. And so this was the AEG night, basically, but he also played another game on that week, during that night. But this one I really did enjoy a lot. It's a nice successor to a game that they've already had, and this one is Point City.
Oh, yeah.
It was like I said, it's a nice follow-up for Point Salad, which was a fine game. I like Point City a lot more than Point Salad because that little engine building aspect of this game.
It's pretty fun.
The buildings could give you special powers, or it can give you like end-of-game scoring depending on the type of buildings that you have in front of you. And I like the fact that when you take a resource out of the tableau, the next card that comes up is going to be a building for it, and then vice versa. If you take a building, it's going to be a tableau that comes up, a resource card. I like that aspect. I love that little engine building, like that little light engine building that this does. Great card stock for what, $25, $20, something like that. This game is really cheap, and it's actually quite fun. I did enjoy the mess out of this. I think I actually won that game.
I think so.
I think it's because
significantly. No, you did. You really did.
It is because I built my engine. I'm like, I'm just gonna gather the buildings that have resources the very beginning. This way, I don't have to worry too much about resources. And so, yeah, it worked really well. I liked it a lot. Again, I would prefer playing this one over Point Salad. Point Salad doesn't really have that engine building. You get very lucky with the scoring cards and stuff like that. Yeah. This one is more, I'm taking this, now I have these resources, I'm turning these in to build this building. And I take this resource out of here to pay for this building. And I think, Dammit Dom got a little annoyed at one point. He's like, that was the first time you did it. We're like towards the end of the game. I'm like, all right, I'm going to spend this resource plus these resources to pay for this building. Because I clarified, I'm like, I can take this to pay for this, right? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, cool. And Dammit Dom was like, this is the first time you've actually done that? That's how we've been buying our buildings. I'm like, yeah, no, I have a bunch of these buildings that give me all the resources I need.
You just got free stuff. That's all you
I was like, I got those 2 there, I got those 2 there, and hey, I got that 1 resource card. I can use this over here.
Yep.
And so it was the first time I actually had to pull the card to use it for a resource, and it was because it was a high point card, so I needed like 4 gears or something like that. And I remember he was like, that's the first time you did it? I'm like, yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah, the fact that you clarified on level 3 out of 3,
yeah.
It was ridiculous.
But yeah, Point City, I like that one a lot. In fact, I might be going to a game store tomorrow, and I might look for a copy.
Oh, yeah. I bet they have it.
Yeah, I'm thinking they might have to. Yeah, they might have it. Yeah.
So. All right. Last game I want to talk about real quick is a party game that you and I played. And then I liked it so much to the point where I brought it to my other game group. And they played it as well. And even my wife joined me on this, and she had a good time. This is Hitster.
I like this one.
This game shouldn't be as fun as it is. So
you got this at Target, right?
Yeah.
I want to pick up a
$20.
Copy. Yeah, I want to pick up a
so
copy.
worth it for $20. So Hitster, what it is you have about 100 something cards, and they are square cards that have QR codes on the back. What you do is you scan it with your phone, and it'll normally jump into Spotify, and it'll play a song. And it's like 100 years worth of music, and it could be anything from like literally modern times, 2024, to like I think the oldest song I've seen so far was in the 40s. So significantly older. And all you have to do is, similar to a game called Timeline, you have to put it in the timeline and have it be accurate. So if I have a song, which I'm not going to attempt to sing, but let's say I was like, that sounds like an 80s hair metal band, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a card that says 1976, and I have the next one, which is like Britney Spears, 1993 or whatever, right?
You're like, I know where this is going.
You're gonna put it in the right spot. But there's some Hitster tokens where if somebody thinks that you're wrong, they can put it where they think it is actually, and they have a chance to steal it if they are correct instead.
Yeah.
You don't need to know the song or the title. You could go entirely by just the sound of it and when you think it is, and still have a good chance. But if you're able to guess the title of the song and the artist, then you can get a Hitster token back. And you can also trade in 3 to get a card for free.
Because the first to 10 wins.
Yep, first 10 wins. And then you can also do one where it's like you pull a card, you just like, I just don't like it. You can chuck a token, discard it, and then draw a new one as a replacement. Very simple. Like I said, I already liked Timeline. And instead of just thinking about the historical events, I was already at the point where me and my dad growing up, we would always just name songs.
Mm-hmm.
I have a wide range of music that I listen to, so this is pretty easy for me.
I did really well at this game too.
Yeah.
Like I was within a year of everything I did, and I was like, okay, and there was one of the cards that I ended up losing because I was like, I think it's here, but I could see it here because I had 91 and 93, and I was like, I think it's 1990. But it could be 1992. Those are the two I'm like sitting at, and I was wrong by 2 years. But like a lot of times, I'm like, and we were talking like other people's music and stuff like that, and I'm like, yo, you got the band and everything right. And then when he flipped it, I'm like, see, and before everybody flipped it, we were like, I'm gonna say it's 1975.
Yeah. We ramped it up a little bit. We're aiming for exact
years. Yeah. So yeah, we were just having a good time with it, and I liked it a lot. Yep. You ended up winning. I think it was 10. I had
Barely,
9.
Yeah.
Our friend Dammit Dom, I think, did the worst because we kept stealing his cards.
Right. Yeah, exactly. He was very shy about stealing ours, which is funny. But oh my goodness, like this game goes really well. It's definitely worth it for $20. I like it a lot. So that was Hitster. I don't remember the publisher though. It's like that has an
something USA. Photorama, I think is what it is. Photorama USA.
Something like that. Yeah. All right. So let's get into today's top 8 debate today. So again, as we said at the top of the episode, this is Bruno Cathala Games, and we're going to be debating his top 8 highest ranked Board Game Geek games that you and I have both played. There is that caveat in there. We like to try and make a sound argument for both of them. But we did have some honorable mentions before we get into the list. So with that being said, let's get into our honorable mentions. First, added on to our... So we post this poll to let people fan vote on the Board Game Revolution group and Facebook. So again, thank you to all the admins for letting us do that. We appreciate you every time. And there was one honorable mention into this, and that was added by Shannon, and that is Nagaraja. Have you played that one yet?
I have not. It's a 2-player game, so it's very rarely that those games are going to get played. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, gorgeous production though.
Yeah.
There was also another one that was added on, and you said you weren't going to bring it up. I got to bring it up. Paul, I mean, while I agree, Space Base is such a good game.
It's a really good game.
It's a really good game. Getting 8% of our vote, by the way. Space Base. That is not Bruno Cathala. That is John DeClaire, friend of the podcast. One of these years we might have.
I think we're getting
Bruno
close.
Cathala on,
yeah.
on
I would
podcast.
love to have Bruno. Wow. It's even increased because I just refreshed it to see because we had a tie right now on the poll.
Yeah.
It's increased in the percentage votes, They're still tied.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll get untied before the end of the thing. So let's go into our honorable mentions and talk about this.
All right, who's starting?
I'll be starting us off. So I'm actually going to piggyback off of Shannon's. Nagaraja was one of my honorable mentions. It's so great components. You have these weird little sticks that
I have not known you played this one.
Oh, I own this and I think it's awesome. It's tile laying. There's 3 different ways to win. You can either have to find a certain number of artifacts, you have to get the most points, or not die. If you die, you lose, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. And the way it's working is that you play cards that'll tell you what kind of dice and or abilities you get. And the dice are kind of like these weird little 4-sided sticks that are kind of like D4s, except they have all sorts of varying different numbers. Like the smallest ones only have like a 0, a 1, a 1, and a 2. Like the bigger ones are like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or something like that, right? And it goes pretty high. And so you're getting these sticks and you're rolling them, and the component quality on this is just absolutely stunning. Good quality tiles, great art. Those sticks are amazing. I really am a fan of this one. Nagaraja, that was my first honorable mention.
All right, so my first honorable mention is a game I've only played once, but I did back I want to say it was a Kickstarter for it. They're re-releasing it, reworked it, and it looks good. It's a dudes on a map style game, and I had an issue the first time I've ever played this game because the person that taught us wiped the board with us without really teaching us the full rules.
Right.
But it's a Cathala game, and I did have fun when I played it. I just had a bad taste in my mouth with it because they weren't teaching the game to teach us the game. They were teaching us the game to trounce us and basically absolutely demolish us.
I don't remember this.
This was a tabletop day.
Okay, so I wasn't in that game.
It was back in April several years ago.
Gotcha.
And so I enjoyed it. I really like it because it's Greek mythology, and that's one of my go-to themes that I really do enjoy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and this is Cyclades, and so with that caveat, with the reworking that's coming out, and I forget who's doing it. I want to say it's Matago, but I could be wrong. But it looks like a phenomenal rebuild. I love the fact that they reworked some of the rules, made it easier. They actually threw in some expansions into the base game, so I'm looking forward to it. I want to play it again. I really did like what it did. I just didn't like the fact that when we got taught the game, we still got destroyed because we're still trying to learn everything. And this person, this is all they've played for the longest time, and basically destroyed us. And it put a bad taste in my mouth. But as I evolve as a gamer, I think I could do a little bit better, especially when we're learning. Mind you, I was just fresh in the board gaming world too when I first played this. I think this is maybe 2 years while in the hobby. I want to say it was like the first tabletop day of 2016, maybe.
Yeah.
So that I'm looking forward to it. I did enjoy it, and I love Cathala games. So.
Cool. All right, my number 2. My second honorable mention is one that I know you own, but I don't know if you've played yet. And I don't think it's on your shelf with shame anymore.
Well, then that means I played it.
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm looking. I don't see it. Unless it's really well hidden. This is Trek 12.
Yeah, I own it. It's behind all this stuff right here.
Have you played it though?
Yeah, I played it all the way through. It's not in the pile of shame. It's on the back of this shelf right here. It fell back when I was trying to dig something out.
Ah, that's a shame. Okay, yeah, Trek 12. It's a roll and write game that works incredibly well. I love the
I knew this was
simple idea.
on your list.
I just love this game. It's a roll and write. You start off on a part of a path of a trek, and you're trying to go amongst the path along the mountains. You have to draw numbers that are adjacent from the first one that you draw. That's one of the first ones you write in. Everything has to be written in collectively from there. You roll 2 dice and you have a bunch of different options. You can either take the higher of the 2 numbers, the lower of the 2 numbers. You can add them together. You can subtract one from the other, or the larger, subtract the smaller from the larger number, or you can multiply them together. You can do each of those actions only 4 times. So you have 20 total actions. So no matter what, you have to do it. If I've already added all 4 of mine together, I can no longer do that action. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get either numbers that are the same adjacent or numbers that are consecutive order adjacent to make a trail along that. You can score points for both of those different sets, and it works just really well. Each different map adds a little bit more rules, adds a little bit more functionality, But I mean, just that system of limiting how you function with the dice, I love that idea, and it works really well. Trek 12.
All right, so my next honorable mention here is a game that's in the same world of one of the games that is in our top 8 debate.
Oh.
It's a small little card game that I recently just
yes.
got a copy of for Christmas. My wife bought me for Christmas as a stocking stuffer.
Yep, I know what this
and
is.
this is Conspiracy.
Yep.
Abyss Universe, I think is what it's called, yeah. And so it's a nice little, it does a lot of the things that Abyss does in a much smaller package. And it's a lot cleaner because it's not everything. It's basically you're drafting cards and you're putting them in a pyramid tableau, and then you're getting locations every now and then, which is just a smaller set of cards.
Right.
It does a lot of what Abyss does, but more simplified and less hectic. And so that's what I liked about this one a lot. It's a nice little fun game, and the first person that triggers, I think it's a 4 down to 1. I think it's like 12 cards in a pyramid style. And so you're trying to seat your lords into one area. You're trying to get like special rewards if you do a grouping here, or they give you special powers. And when you get enough keys, you can unlock a location, which gives you some abilities or into-game scoring and stuff like that. Plays real simple, plays real fast. Enjoy this game a lot. This is Conspiracy Abyss Universe.
All right, and my last one. This is probably one of the very first games I've ever played from Bruno Cathala. And still to this day, every time I play it, I just have a great time. And this is easily one of his simplest games, if not the most simple that we've played out of all of these lists that we're going to be talking about today. This is Naya or Okaya is the name for it. By Blue Orange Games. Very simple. Put 4 in a row of your tokens or a 2x2 grid. How do you do that? You pick a tile. The very first player picks any tile they want. They set it aside, and they put their chip in place where that tile was. It's already on a 4x4 grid. Now, they'll have a different background and a different foreground. The next player, it's a 2-player only game, the other player can then place their chip on either one that has the same foreground or the same background. Again, replacing that chip. It's one of those things that breaks your brain in such a fun way.
Yeah, because you basically are telling your opponent where they have to go.
Yeah, and you're limiting their responses. So if you get it to the point where they have no choice but to put you in that position where you get a winning move, that's just how clever you are. You know, it's super smart. I wish more games did it, and it uses one of my favorite mechanisms where how I maneuver the pieces determine how you get to respond to it in a number of different ways. There's Kamisado, there's Quarto, those are all different versions of those.
Shobu's another one that kind of does that because of the push and pull aspect.
Yeah, kind of. It's more like your first move determines how your second move can work, and less about how your opponent does. But yeah, I mean, like there are situations in Shobu where it's like you put them in that little like backdrop where the only way that they can win is by potentially putting themselves in a bad position on their other board. It's super cool. I like Naya a lot. I hope it goes back in print if it's not still. I would gladly make like a nice, beautiful production version of this. Like I love this game. So yeah.
That was your last one?
That's my last one.
All right, my last one. We had a little side bet before we got on here, so I'm gonna let you decide what game you think was on my list.
I've written it down right here.
What is it?
Queens.
Nope.
The hell do you say, sir? Hold on.
Though I did like
How
that
is
game.
Queens not on this list?
I did like that game a lot.
It's way better than Cyclades, let me tell you that.
There is a game that why didn't you put it on your list?
I didn't like it as much as these 3.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like it as much as the 3 that I have on my list.
But it's better than Cyclades. Send your hate mail to Daniel at Everyday Board Game. No,
so the
what
game
is it, actually? I'm curious now.
Is a Pandasaurus game that recently came out within the last couple years called Orichalcum.
Oh, okay. I haven't played this, so.
No, I like
I
it.
thought you were going to say Raptor. I don't know.
I've
why.
never played Raptor.
Yeah. It's okay.
The reason why I picked this one is what it does. It does kind of like, what is it, Ishtar, the Babylon Flowers or something like that our buddy has. But it's much simpler. It took a lot of like the heavy lifting that Ishtar does and made it much simpler. It put like a Greek mythology on it.
Right.
So you're basically picking a tile, you're building up your map, and you're trying to fight monsters. This way they're not giving you negative points at the end of the game. You're getting special powers, and then you're trying to build temples and different stuff out there. It's been a while since I played it, but First time I played it, I loved this game a lot.
Yeah.
And so, it's gorgeous. Pandasaurus really goes out of their way to do some very unique style games, because look at their library. You have something like Skate Summer and Orichalcum that came out within a year of each other.
Right.
And then just recently they followed that up with like Mind Up this year and then Gnar. So they really go out of their way to do something different, and that's why I like this Cathala game, because even though it reminds me a little bit of Ishtar, it's less complicated. I think you would like this one more than the way Ishtar played, because you had to do like the flower gardens and do this and that.
I see.
This, you come out, you got your temple, you got your monsters that you can fight, which can give you rewards. You can only one person can have a Titan, and if someone takes control of that Titan, they can steal it from you. It's really neat how it goes, and I really do like Orichalcum a lot. I need to play it more before I can feel where it is on this one, but yeah, I like Orichalcum.
All right. I'd be curious to try it sometime.
Haha, I win.
Aha.
No,
It's still Queens. Is fine.
I did like Queens a lot.
Yeah. Or a Queens.
Huh?
No. I was trying to combine Orichalcum to Queens. Queens of Calcum.
Queens of Calcum.
There you go. There it is. All right, let's get into our debate today. So this is our top 8 debate for Bruno Cathala games. Here are the top 8 that Daniel and I have both played that we're going to be breaking down. First off, we have our number 1 seed, Seven Wonders Duel.
Going up against our 8 seed, Yamatai.
Our number 2 seed, Five Tribes.
Going up against the 7 seed, Jamaica.
Our number 3 seed, King Domino.
Going up against our 6 seed, Shadows over Camelot.
And our number 4 seed, Abyss.
Going up against the newest game on our list here, the number 5 seed, Sea Salt and Paper.
All right.
So, interesting, before we get into this, when I was making the bracket and everything for us, Sea Salt and Paper is in the top 500 on Board Game Geek. That shocked me because it's relatively new.
It's
and
surprising.
Again, another one of the little small Pandasaurus stuff that's coming
out.
Right,
Pandasaurus are hidden. And so we're going to break this down into 5 different sub-criteria. So we have this as ease of play. Let's go ahead and do we want to do this? No, let's just go into it. Ease of play. This is how simple and familiar the rules are, or the mechanisms are, how familiar you are with like how it works, the inner workings, likelihood of getting it to the table, whether that's theme or the mechanism or how it works, or is it easy to learn, understand, and or teach? That determines ease of play.
All right, and then we have replay value, which is the length of time and scaling well. Does a 2-player game play as well as a 4-player game in relatively the same amount of time? The minimum number of plays before a full experience. So campaign games have a better chance to outlasting, say, something like Sea Salt and Paper, because you just have more ability to see more stuff. And the expandability. Stuff that already has existing expansions, up to 1 possible future expansion, or expansions that have been confirmed by the designer or publisher.
Then we have meaningful choice, which is the impact on other players' strategies, or just in general, impact on other players, the depth of the strategies, tactics, and or skill, and do arbitrary choices or analysis paralysis make an impact on the gameplay in a negative way.
And next up we have game immersion. Is the game fun to lose? That's a big thing. Does it involve player interaction, whether there's trash-talking table talk, or role-playing? Or does it lead to, or leading to memorable moments, the stuff that makes you stand up and shout in a game shop?
And finally, we have art and production. That is the art, which we now understand is subjective, but we try to take as much bias out of it as we can. The pieces and components, the quality of the components, how well they're going to last.
Card stock if it's a card game.
Card stock if it's a card game. And then finally, the graphic design. Is it icon heavy? Is there a lot of little tiny text? Is it colorblind friendly? You'll hear us debate on that later.
And if all else fails and we can't come to consensus, that's why on the Board Game Revolution group on Facebook, we put a poll. You help us decide who's going to win. The fan vote will break the tie.
So
hopefully.
Each of these rounds, hopefully. We'll see you here in a bit. Each of these rounds, we're going to flip the coin of doom. Daniel's going to pull from the cup of doom, and we'll see which side we're debating. We're starting with Seven Wonders Duel versus our number 8 seed, Yamatai. Are you ready to get into this, Daniel?
I'm ready.
All right. I'm starting off first.
You get Seven Wonders Duel.
Seven Wonders Duel. All right. Let's go. Seven Wonders Duel, I think, should definitely move on. Let me explain why for you. Even though I like Yamatai better, the art and production is really good on Seven Wonders Duel, and I have actual evidence of that. That this has some of the best cardboard in any game. And I'm going to tell you why. Regardless of how good the game is, There was one time I was packing up the game and I flipped the box over, not realizing one of the science tokens was in it, and it went ka-thunk right into a cup of water. And it sat there for a few moments as we were all in shock. Because this token, about yay big, size of a wooden nickel, fell into a glass of water, completely submerged, and waited for a few moments as we were like, oh no, that is one of my pieces that is totally gone. We brought it out, patted it down, never noticed it ever since then. You could not distinguish that at all from any of the others. That tells me that is a high quality product. And Repost Productions did a really good job on that. So this is a dual design between Bruno Cathala and Antoine Bauza. And what I really like about this, at the time when this came out, this was my replacement to Seven Wonders. I liked Seven Wonders just fine. Mm-hmm. My favorite part about Seven Wonders was probably the art. I loved the art on it. It's beautiful. And they took it up and they ramped up, because the original Seven Wonders couldn't play it 2 players. Like, they said you could. You kind of couldn't, right? It wasn't making meaningful choices. It's not the same thing. So they went back and sat with Bruno Cathala and Antoine Bauza designed, those two designed how it would work with 3 players, or 2 players, and it's 3 different ways to win. You can either get enough sciences, build certain things, or defeat them on the warrior track, or most points at the end of the game. And this is also tried and true that they actually did this on future games as well, that he worked on as 2-player variations on games, that, like Splendor Duel. He did that same idea where there's 3 different, very distinct ways to win. There's a lot of choice. There's already a couple expansions for a 2-player game. That's almost unheard of. Ease of play. If you're already familiar with the drafting mechanism in Seven Wonders, you're already familiar with this. And if you've ever played, I don't know, any kind of solitaire, you've probably played like this little pyramid style of doing it. And yeah, overall, I think it's just a very meaningful game, and I'm still impressed that my token is, like, if I did not tell you that, you would not have noticed that token is dropped into water. So there you go. Art production should go right there.
Okay. You're disqualified for making a choice on this one because your wife actually voted on this.
Wait, what?
I kid you not.
Wait, who voted on what now?
Your wife voted on Seven Wonders Duel.
Wait, what? She's never played this.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can pull it up. Because you don't see it on here.
No. Wait, what?
Isn't that your wife's picture right there?
That it is. Alright, you go ahead and state your claim. I'm going to text to see what's going on here. Hold on.
No, but I don't disagree with you. As much as I like Yamatai, I think it's a fine game. And it's really well produced because, Days of Wonder. It's very, very heavy. And so the likelihood of getting it to the table is very unlikely. I own a copy of it just because I think you gave me your copy of it because yours doesn't get played a lot. And I collect Cathala games. Yeah.
But, no, I still have mine, I think.
No, you did your clean room.
That's right.
It was when you're culling.
That was yours, yeah.
And so I decided...
I hit it hard, apparently too much.
Yeah, as much as I like it, and I collect Cathala games. Cthulhu.
Bruno Cathala.
Bruno Cathala. I collect a lot of his games. I do and like a lot of his stuff. It's just one of those things that I'm just keeping for a collection purposes because it's very likely it's not going to get to the table. The graphic design, I think, is much better in Seven Wonders Duel. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that one. The pieces and components are great in both of these games.
Yes.
And there's a lot of it in Yamatai.
Yes.
But going back to the actual graphic design of stuff, Yamatai is so iconography heavy. Yeah. It's very heavy. There's a lot going on in that game. Don't get me wrong. It's a great game. It's a fun game. I remember you and me playing this. It was almost midnight, and both of us were very grumpy when we played this because we were just tired and learning this very heavy game. Yep. But I like the game a lot. I think it's an amazing game. However, I agree with you. Seven Wonders Duel should move on.
All right. So Seven Wonders Duel, purely because of the cup of water.
Well, no. It's honestly, I look at our list that we go through. It wins ease of play hands down.
Yep.
Meaningful choice or a replay value. Yamatai doesn't have any expansions.
Right.
Seven Wonders Duel has 2.
Yep.
One
And
Seven
it
Wonders.
scales quicker. I mean, it
Yamatai
doesn't
scales
scale,
better,
but it plays quicker.
And you don't see everything right away.
Right.
And then, so Meaningful Choice, for me personally, I think Meaningful Choice is Yamatai.
Sure.
Because there is just a lot going on, and you have to be smart how you play that game.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like game immersion and art production, it's going to win those two as well. And so I broke it down while you were talking about your game and about your cube going in there, and I'm just looking at the thing. I'm like, no, I think it is Seven Wonders Duel, because as I break it down in my head, it's hitting point after point after point.
Right. Exactly. Cool. Let's go into round number 2. Oh, let me move that on then.
I'm going to see how loud this is.
All right, headphone users, we apologize again. There we go. Let's move it on. So now we have 5 tribes, our number 2 seed versus our number 7 seed, Jamaica. Here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, you'll be starting.
I get 5 tribes. Oh, thank God.
Oof.
Not that I have any problem with Jamaica, is that I don't really remember it all that well. It's been a while since I played it.
Well, it's a good thing I remember it.
So, 5 Tribes, one of my favorite things about this game is that he made a very classic game mechanism that we don't see a lot in board gaming and made it popular again now that you see it a lot more, and that's Mancala.
Yeah.
The way this works is that you have I can't remember what the grid is, I think it's a 5x5 grid. And so you're basically trying to move these meeples across the board in a Mancala mechanism. So you're going to pick up these pieces, and you're going to move across the board, dropping one at a time. And then the one that you drop last is going to be your special power for that round or that turn. And you get the power basically based on how many of that specific color meeple is on that tile. And so when you have like assassins, you'll have an ability to assassinate something later on down the way, depending on how many red meeples are on there, or merchants, depending on how many caravans that are out there of that color and the special powers. And not only that, you are able to buy resources, can give you gens, which can give you game-breaking abilities. I love everything about this game. I think this game should move on over Jamaica. I think they both only have one expansion, if I remember correctly. And Jamaica's is recently that just came out, and not a lot of people like that new expansion. Jamaica, I think, is a much easier game. But when it comes to the replay value, the meaningful choice, the game immersion, because of the way the gens work, and based on the meeples, and you'd be like, I can do this and I can do that. The only issue when it comes to like the meaningful choice is I think the AP in 5 Tribes can be a detriment.
It can.
But I think the art and production's better. I think it's a little bit more immersive for my personal style, because I prefer to lose in this game, because I'm like, and the thing about it, when we talk about memorable moments, when you pull off that great move and 5 Tribes, and people were looking at the table like, I didn't even see that. Yeah. Wow. And you get to talking. So for me, I think 5 Tribes to move on, but let's hear what you got to say about Jamaica.
So Jamaica, it was one of the first like really popular like pirate themed games in the industry. There was others that were already out, but it was still really popular. This one has so much thematic flavor to it. You are essentially pirates trying to get the most gold. You're sailing around Jamaica. There's parts where you can actually go and raid villages or find treasure or whatever. And you can also battle each other by blowing each other up with cannons and all sorts of silly stuff. Basically what happens is everyone gets a set of cards that they're going to be playing as their actions. And the main player will roll 2 dice. One will determine which is played at night. One will determine which is played during the day. And that'll determine which kind of actions you can take with your cards. Also, of course, when you land on a spot with another player, you can battle against them, and therefore whoever has the most gunfire normally wins. There was one thing, other than me not remembering that much, I have both this and the expansion, I like them both. My biggest thing that irks me on this game is that you have cargo holds on your ship, and once you get something, you either fill in an empty cargo hold, or you replace something that is, if you're out of empty spots. Meaning, if you have a cargo hold full of gold, and you get more gold, you have to replace gold to keep the gold. And that immediately, I think, it's like, I get functionally why it's working, but I dislike that wholeheartedly. That's just like, and I don't know how you could fix that without it, like, completely changing that mechanism.
Yeah.
And so, with that being said, I don't have anything in Five Tribes that I specifically relate to that as well. It's similar. The only thing in Five Tribes that's comparable is that depending on the number of meeples that are on your square, if it's an even number, it's always a checkerboard away. If it's an odd number, it'll always be adjacent, in orthogonally adjacent. So there's like, it's weird how you could like look at the board, look at the number of pieces, and math that out. You're like, there's no way I could ever get here with this number of meeples.
Yeah.
And so that kind of takes the theme away from it. I think Jamaica is by far more thematic and more game immersive because you feel like you're battling, you're beating each other up. You're just like, give me the gold. You know, do what you can. Five Tribes doesn't feel the slightest bit thematic in any way possible. But that's the only one I would give to Jamaica. So, with that being said, I think Five Tribes moves on as well.
All right.
So, we are fairly in agreement.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. This might be an interesting one.
Yeah. So, Five Tribes moves on. Our next round, King Domino versus Shadows over Camelot.
Funny enough, King Domino has won our top 8 debate before.
That's right. And it was also Spiel des Jahres winner. Yeah. So,
all right, who's getting
I'm a little biased towards my Spiel winners, you know, as we said at the beginning of the episode.
That's fine. You get Shadows over Camelot.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, Shadows over Camelot was revolutionary, right? It was really kind of one of the first possible hidden trader games that really popularized that. And it was also one of the first cooperative games.
Not only that, semi-co-op at
Semi-co-op, yeah. And so there was a possibility of a trader. There could have been somebody working against you, but mostly you guys are all working together.
Yeah.
Now, what Shadows over Camelot is, beautiful production by Days of Wonder. It is long out of print right now. It is very hard to get a hold of.
And there was actual talks of a reprint happening, but then one of the co-designers passed away, if I remember correctly.
Right, Serge Leger.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, you know, but it is what it is. And so I think that halted that a little bit. But yeah, no, I know they were planning on doing a remake of it and reprinting it.
Quick question: was Jamaica Days of Wonder?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
GameWorks.
Because it's 1, 2. There's 3 Days of Wonders on there.
Yes, yeah, it was GameWorks. Which I think the reprint was from not Starry, but Space Cowboys, maybe.
Yeah, it's Space Cowboys. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, yeah. So, one thing about like Shadows over Camelot that is interesting. You're going all these like mini quests. You know, you can go for Excalibur, or you can go to defeat the dragon, or you're fighting off the Picts or the Saxons, you know, and you're defending your area, and they're trying to beat you down at the same time, and you all have your own little abilities. So you have essentially do one bad thing, which is either draw a bad card, lose a life point, or something. There's some other option I forget off the top of my head.
Put the catapults.
Oh yeah, put the catapults down. Yeah. Or after that you do some good stuff where you're playing cards, trying to defend against that. Really, this is kind of like Gin Rummy with more steps.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is. Like, so you have a bunch of cards that have different number values, and like the dragon, you're playing like a full house. There's certain ones where you're trying to play cards in consecutive.
You're trying to do runs, or you're trying to do 4 of a kind or something.
Right, exactly. So it's kind of like a cooperative version of Gin Rummy in an interesting way. It works, and it's not absolutely unthematic, and the pieces and components really lean into that. Like I feel that the game is significantly more immersive, knowing that how little the actual mechanisms are.
Yeah.
It's still more immersive just because of how much quality they put into it. I used to own it. I do not own it anymore, but between these, personally,
I think you traded it with Gamehead Geek.
I might have, or something.
Yeah, no, I think it was a trade between the two of you, because you got something out of it, and he got the Shadows over Camelot.
Right.
Your Shadows over Camelot was bought from our mutual friend Triune.
Yes.
And Gamehead Geek wanted to buy it, but then you got it, and you're like, okay, I got to do this calling because it was part of your goals last year, and so you guys ended up doing a trade for it.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I like it. It was really fun, but it just never got played in my house.
Oh
So
no, yeah, I get it.
yeah, I don't know. Like, and there's a lot of love, and I feel like I'm gonna be hurting some feelings with this. But personally, I think King Domino should move on.
And the thing is, I'm gonna have to look through this, but I love Shadows over Camelot. I think it's a fun game. I love the theme. I like the fact it. And here's the thing: we just recently played this about a month or two ago, and it still holds up. This is a game that's about 20 years old almost. I think it came out what 2005, 6, something like that.
Yep.
And it still holds up really well, and it plays so good that we were just like. And the thing about it, what I like about what Shadows over Camelot does well, is that it hides the hidden traitor better than any game that has a hidden traitor in it, because everybody is doing something bad. So you're sitting there thinking, okay, did you do that because you're the traitor? Or did you do that because we have to do something bad, and that's the least bad compared to some of the other stuff over here? Yeah. Because both times I played it, the traitors won. One of the times I was the traitor. That's how I ended up winning it. Yep. And then when we recently played it, damn it, Dom was the traitor. And it was because there was a bunch of bad stuff going out there, and we ended up losing because we got overrun, I think, by catapults or something like that. Yep. But it hides that very well. Like, you play something like Dead of Winter, and eventually you'll be able to start cluing in on who the traitor is, especially if you have that one character that can look at other people's cards.
Sure.
And so I think they did that really well. Now, I have to argue King Domino. And I look through our list here. King Domino wins ease of play, hands down. Even though Shadows over Camelot, like you said, is basically rummy.
Yeah.
For me, I think Shadows over Camelot does the meaningful choice aspect better, because especially if you're that trader, you have to do that little push and pull kind of aspect of like, do I do the bad thing? Because you can reveal yourself sometime during that game, because if it means it's getting close for you to get that victory.
Sure.
And so I like that push and pull. Do I reveal myself? Do I decide to stay hidden? And then if we lose, I still win the game because I was working against you guys while I stay hidden the whole time. Right. So I love that little aspect of it. And again, for me, the game immersion goes there too. Where I have trouble is the replay value. There's what, two expansions for Shadows over Camelot? One or two?
No, there's only one.
There's one.
Was the Merlin expansion. Yeah. And as
there's
far
two in Kingdom. Well,
there's one. There's the one. Yeah. And then they had a sequel.
You had Queen Domino.
They had a remake.
Yeah.
A couple of remakes.
But the Queen Domino is a standalone expansion in a sense.
Yep.
You can play both together.
Yes.
So replay value and the length of time, the expandability there, and the length of time of scaling well, I think goes to Seven
Wonders Duel. Yes,
King Domino.
Yes, I agree with that.
And so, and then also the art and production. I think even though it's Days of Wonder, the way Blue Orange has really made those tiles pop a little bit.
They are super thick. Mm-hmm. They are really high quality. All you need is the simple meeples, but even with the Giants expansion, you have the tower, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
And functional. Yeah, it's hard to compare.
It's hard to compare the two. Out from what I'm looking at here, for me personally, I think King Domino is moving on just for the simple fact it wins 3 out of 2. I think the art and production is better in King Domino. The replay value is better in King Domino, and the ease of play is better in King Domino. I think meaningful choice in game immersion, I think hands down, that is straight up Shadows over Camelot.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can't argue that. I do think so. The only bad part, and here's the thing, right? I want to argue against how simple the art is in King Domino, but it's very functional. You know exactly what the tiles do. You know what they're for. It's very clear when they have, or like any of the tiles. There's not a single problem with the graphic design on that at all. It's very clear and clear cut. I mean, that you can't say that there's a fault in there, where you could claim that there's a fault in Shadows over Camelot, and how dirty and dingy it feels. Yeah. How it is essentially rummy, but because of how all the cards work in different ways, it's awfully confusing at the same time. So, I'm going to have to go with you too. I think it's King Domino that moves on.
Yeah, so it's very interesting on that one. Have you even been doing the board? Yeah, you have.
I have. Remember, you checked the...
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I agree, Luminous. Camelot needs a touch-up. I do like that game. We just recently played it. It played really well. In all honesty, I think King Domino would not win ease of play in my household, because of the King Arthurian realm. I think that's going to have more likelihood to get to the table over King Domino. But when we go through our bracket, simplicity, familiarity, it's dominoes.
Yeah.
Like, if my dad was still alive, I could get him to play King Domino because he played, as he called it growing up, bones all the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's not to say gin rummy is difficult, but it's less common than dominoes are.
That's the only way I think I could get him, because my dad was also a history buff, to play Shadows over Camelot, because he loved the Arthurian legends.
Yep.
Because he's a big history guy too. And Gin Rummy was his favorite card, or Rummy was his favorite card game when we played all the time.
Yeah.
So
I don't disagree with that, but at the same time, that big intimidating board and knowing,
hey
Dad, just so you know, you might be a traitor against us and actively working against us. Like,
that would
put so many people.
That's why I say, like, the theme, he could probably get into it. Yeah. The mechanism, he could probably get into it. But the fact that King Domino is basically just dominoes with area control in a sense.
Yeah, I agree. All right, cool. So, our next round, we have our number 4 seed, Abyss, versus our number 5 seed, Sea Salt and Paper, the last of the quarterfinals. Here we go. I'll be starting us off. Which one?
You got Abyss.
Okay. I mean, I'll be honest with you. These are my 2 least favorite out of the list. Like,
these are my 2 favorite out of this list.
They are. I honestly care less who moves on. Like, it's at this point. Like, Abyss is fine. Sea Salt and Paper, I think I need to play it again because I was already tired and when we learned how to play it, and I was like, for as simple of a card game that this should be, it shouldn't be as complicated as it's making out right now. And I don't feel like I can give it a justified argument, but that's why I'm arguing for Abyss. Abyss has this feature where you're pulling cards one at a time, trying to like kind of press your luck to see if somebody wants to buy it.
That's one part.
That is one part, yeah. The other parts are, like getting the depths, getting like those different like landscape tiles or whatever they are, getting different cards that kind of get like little abilities with them. Lords, yeah. All of that's good, fine, dandy. I've played this probably about 4 or 5 times. I think it's awesome as far as the production goes. I love the art on it.
Oh, the art is so good.
I'm a sucker for deep sea like style art, and the pearl pieces are awesome. That's the only good things I'm going to say about this game. I don't enjoy it. I know I'm arguing for it, and I feel it very much outstays its welcome when you're drawing through those cards. You're like, all right, draw one. You want it? You want it? You want it? All right, you want it? You want it? You want it? It's just like it's just that over and over again, and it's just frustrating to me. With that being said,
you're the only one in our group that doesn't like this game.
And I know I'm the outlier. I also do and don't like the fact that they made 5 covers. Like
that is funny to me because everybody is collecting it thinking it was a different game. It's the same game the whole time.
I like that. Like, I mean, sure, like make it unique. Put those 5 covers on. That's awesome. But then I also like how like it gets like compulsive nerds like angry because of it. It's like now I have to buy. This is a cash grab because now I have to buy all 5 covers. No, you don't. You know, it doesn't change the game.
You know
cover you like.
You know what's funny about that is that when they finally decided that they're not going to do the 5 covers anymore and they're just going to stick to 1 cover. Mine, when I bought my copy, it was still the whole different covers. I bought the one that they went with for the cover for the rest of the game.
They stuck with it, right? Yeah. No, I don't blame you. Honestly, like the one that I would guarantee give it is art and production. I think Abyss definitely has art and production, hands down. Sea Salt and Paper, yeah, the art is pretty, right? Mm-hmm. It's like handmade origami that looks like paper, or looks like
the art
sculptures.
Is amazing on that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's definitely a unique touch. But I mean, those pearl beads are awesome. The board is beautiful. The art's good, and the graphic design does functionally work really well.
All right, so going through this, I own both of these games.
Yeah.
And so out of all of these, I own Yamatai, I own 5 Tribes, I own Abyss, and Sea Salt and Paper. Out of the 8 games here, I own 4 of these.
Out of all of these 8 games, I own 6 of them, and these are the only 2 I don't. I used to own the Yamatai.
We used to own Shadows over Camelot. You don't own that anymore.
Correct.
I don't own 7 Wonders of Duel anymore. I used to have it, but 2-player games just don't get played in the house. Sure. So I figured, you know what? Let me sell it. Let someone else have fun with it. And so that's the only reason why I don't own it anymore, because it's
Sure.
my favorite out of the Seven Wonders series, even though I like Architects.
I like Architects hands down miles more. But
It's just that for me,
I
I like Seven Wonders Duel more than Architects, just because it's a little bit more next step.
Yeah.
Architects is very simple. It's my favorite go-to for
Yeah.
giving to other gamers who are not gamers to play.
Right. That's fair. That's fair.
But out of Abyss and Sea Salt and Paper, this is tough for me. I have to argue Sea Salt and Paper. Sea Salt and Paper is much easier game to play. Much easier game to play. Not much easier than, say, King Domino, but it is easier than Abyss, because the issue with Abyss, and even though Abyss is probably one of my favorites on this list, is that you have basically 3 or 4 little mini games in a sense. You have the little push your luck. Then in that push your luck, you have a bidding. And so if one of those cards that come up are a really powerful card, yeah, you're getting pearls, which could help you on someone else's push your luck turn.
Sure.
You'll have more pearls for that aspect of it, but the pearls don't really do anything good for you at that point in time.
Right.
The likelihood of getting it to the table, I think I just have a much easier time getting Sea Salt and Paper to the table, because it's such a small card game. And
right.
we say,
how difficult could it be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I said, when we're talking about like the mechanism and the theme, I got this game or I got this game, and people are going to look and be like, oh, let's play that one. I don't want something so heavy, even though Abyss is not that heavy. And going back to the familiar, you got to push your luck aspect there. Then in an Abyss, you also have that second row where it's like, oh, I have to remember, okay, there's 3 cards in this pile, which is like the crab claw. I can just grab that entire pile if I don't want to do the push your luck part. Then you use those cards to pay for a Lord, which can now be able to, depending on if you get keys or whatnot, to get you a location. Or when you're doing the push your luck aspect, if you choose to fight Barracuda or whatever, that's going to help you. There's a lot of moving parts in this where Sea Salt and Paper is you draw 1 card off the top of or draw 2 cards off the top of the deck, keep 1 and put 1 in the discard pile, or you take 1 off the one of the 2 discard piles. Very simple mechanism there.
Yep.
And then you can play cards in front of you. And then if you play a combo cards that work, you get a special power, which means allows you to take a completely different action again, or you can do whatever the ability it gives you, or you can call and you go to the third step and you can call final round, and that means everybody just scores the cards that are in their hand or on their table. Or you could call one more turn because you think you have more points than everybody else. But you have to have, I think, 7 points in your hand.
Oh, yeah.
And when it comes to Sea Salt and Paper, to call it. And if you think you have more points, everybody gets another turn before it comes back to you. When that happens, then you score all your cards. And if you have more points than everybody else, you get a reward. I like that little push and pull aspect of it. However, if somebody calls a scoring and someone has all 4 mermaids, they instantly win the game, whether you're in the first round or the third round. Because you only play based on, I think, the amount of players.
Shoot the moon is always fun.
Yeah, and so I've actually seen that happen. And so that actually happens really well. So ease of play, I think that goes straight to Sea Salt and Paper for myself. When it goes into replay value, the only thing I give Abyss, well, I probably would give replay value to Abyss, because there's only 1 expansion for Sea Salt and Paper.
Sure.
But the length and time of scaling wall is better in Sea Salt and Paper. So that's 1-1 right there. Minimum number of plays for the full experience. The fact that you got to see all the locations, you have to see all the cards that are coming up based on the lords who give you special abilities. It just gives you a little bit more
a lot more
there.
to go off of, sure.
Yeah, so I give replay value to Abyss. When it comes to the meaningful choice, that's Abyss. That's 2 for me on Abyss, because you have a lot of more choices that you have to do in Abyss. However, I have much more fun losing Sea Salt and Paper. The player interaction's a little bit better because you sit there, and going into memorable moments, I don't really have those stand-up moments in Abyss. I'm like, oh, I played really well, I played very efficiently. When you go to Sea Salt and Paper and someone wins with the 4, I'm like, all right, I'm going to call the game here because I think I have the point. And then my wife's like, I win, right? And I look over and she's got 4 mermaids on the table. And you're sitting there like, I didn't even win the game, and I was impressed. That was a memorable moment for me.
Sure.
So I think game immersion goes to Sea Salt and Paper, and art and production I think goes to Abyss, but that's still 3-2.
All right. So Sea Salt and Paper moves on.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good argument. All right. So
Even though, like I said, Abyss is one of my favorite games. I have both expansions for Abyss.
Sure.
I love and adore that game.
Yeah. and I get it. There's just something about it that I just like. I fall into a coma every time we play it. Just like yeah. So then you're pressing like a, and I'm just out, right? And it's not that like it specifically puts me to sleep. It's just like nothing about how it works melds with how my brain understands how it works.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I get why the people who like it.
There's a reason why it's number 4 on our list.
And I don't want to discredit anybody who voted for it. I totally get it. There's something about it I just can't fathom.
All right, moving into our second round. Let's go into the votes.
Before we do that, how much votes did the ones that got eliminated get?
All right, so Yamatai, which was our number 8 seed, which is the first one was eliminated, only had 1% of the vote.
Kind of proved it, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Number 7, Jamaica, was the next one out. And I'm shocked by its vote get. I thought it was more popular than it is, but it only had 2% of the vote.
Right. That's it.
Next up was Shadows over Camelot, which I'm not surprised. Like I said, it was my dark horse to win, but it actually had a lot of love in here. It had 10% of our vote. I think it was our number 3. I think it was tied for number 3,
Yep, tied for number 3.
All right, moving on to the final one, which was our number 4 seed in a slight upset, Abyss, which only had 4% of the vote.
Yep. But really, how much percent did Space Base get?
7%.
Which, again, not Bruno Cathala. Or Bruno Cthulhu either.
I'm trying to see. Nope, still hasn't moved.
It's still on the tie. Let's hope it just doesn't happen. Alright, our next round is going to be Sea Salt and Paper versus Seven Wonders Duel. Oh, let me move this on. Sea Salt and Paper.
Headphone users, heads up.
Yep. Should have a headphone wearing warning. Alright, so Seven Wonders Duel versus Sea Salt and Paper. Here we go. I'll be starting us off.
You get Sea Salt and Paper.
Alright, well, Sea Salt and Paper, like I said, it is absolutely gorgeous. I think what they did as far as the art goes is a very bold choice, but it worked really well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the art came first before the theme did.
Yeah.
They probably knew the artist and was like, this would be really cool. How can we put a game to it? And probably knew about that already, and then put the game on it. So I can't give it in any way game immersion. But as far as everything else goes, you're right. It is pretty simple to learn. It does play more than 2 players, so immediately it scales well, even though it doesn't have expansions.
It has 1.
No, I mean okay, so it has 1 expansion.
Extra salt.
Versus 2. 2 expansions for Seven Wonders Duel, plus promo cards and all that stuff.
We don't count promo cards.
Right. But either way, they have extra content for Seven Wonders Duel. Is what I'm saying. And the art production, the art's great, but the production on Seven Wonders Duel, I joked about it on the last one, but I mean, really, the components and quality that they put in it is really fantastic for a $25 to $30 game.
Their box sucks, though. The Seven Wonders Duel box sucks because it got beat up, and it sat on the little shelf over here sideways. It didn't get stacked on it, and it got beat up, and so I got a deduction when I was trying to trade it in.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's
the box quality sucks compared to the rest of the game.
Sure, I don't think actually did I have a copy of that? Probably. Anyway, but yeah, no, I mean the rest of the pieces are really good quality. I like the little war piece that moves back and forth, and the art's generally the iconography is way more clear in Seven Wonders Duel. However, Sea Salt and Paper, as you said, it kind of has almost like a Gin Rummy-esque quality to it, where you draw 2 cards or you draw a single one from the discard pile. That is very reminiscent of a lot of things. A lot of card games back in the day with Gin Rummy style things, or Mahjong, or Rummy Cub,
Yeah.
All of those use that same general idea. You could pull stuff from the discard pile, try and get the sets or whatever you need to run it. It all works in different ways. And so it feels definitely more like a classic card game than Seven Wonders Duel is. Seven Wonders Duel feels like it was made out of Seven Wonders, and they added some more choices and more meaning to it, and a lot of good progression on making Seven Wonders more of a gamer game. Whereas sea
in a
salt
better
and paper,
two-player game at that, because
Right.
they literally
Phenomenal
had to take the
two-player.
two-player game aspect out of regular Seven Wonders.
The reprint doesn't even have the 2-player. It just has that as a variant. But realistically though, sea salt and paper, it's hard for me to make a really solid argument for it. I do think Seven Wonders Duel should move on, but off to you.
All right, so I'm just going through the list here. I have it right in front of me. Ease of play, I think, is sea salt and paper. And for the simple reason, the rummy aspect you were just talking about is much easier to get to the table. And I can prove this to true because my wife asked to play this game. She played Seven Wonders Duel once and was like, I'm done.
Well, the core mechanism, like either drawing one card versus the two.
Simplicity and familiarity of the mechanism.
That's simple, but like also again, like the Klondike aspect of Seven Wonders Duel, it's like if there's a card that doesn't have a card on it, you take that card, right?
Simplicity and familiarity in the mechanism, I think, goes to Rummy. Likelihood to get to the table, the mechanism and or theme. In this case, the cover. The cover is going to have that jump off the shelf. My wife looked at it and she was the one that requested to play it. And my game group did enjoy that one too. I don't know if they've ever played Seven Wonders Duel. And then, is it easy to learn, understand, and or teach? Both are fairly well done.
Yep.
And both are really easy to teach because it's just like, you pick this card up, if it uncovers these two cards, they flip over.
Yep.
You use this card to do this. Another thing I liked about what Seven Wonders Duel did, they took away the paying your neighbor aspect of things.
Yes, because that would be ridiculous in a two-player game.
Yeah, so...
Are you saying it's a wash then?
It's a wash there, and I think both of them are washed. Because I think
Fair
the
enough.
simplicity and familiarity of the mechanism is just slightly easier in Sea Salt and Paper.
Yep.
And then... the likelihood to get to the table. Actually, I think Ease of Play goes to Sea Salt because the likelihood to get to the table just on that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
I think
don't
Ease of
you're
Play
wrong
is Sea
on
Salt and Paper. Replay value, 1 expansion versus 2 expansions. So that is Seven Wonders Duel right there. Minimum number of plays for the full experience. That part right there is a bit of a wash.
No, it's against Seven Wonders Duel because you have each of the different wonders that you can play with each time. It has the modularity at the beginning of each of the games.
Okay, yeah.
You draft the 1, 2, then 1, and then but you have a whole slew of different ones that you can play
But I
with.
think Sea Salt and Paper gets replay value too. Oh no, I think this is Seven Wonders Duel because of the minimum number of plays and the expandability. Yeah. I think the length of time and the scaling that's Sea Salt and Paper because you can hold more people, and it still plays relatively in the same time frame as Seven Wonders Duel, even with 4 players.
Yep.
But I think Seven Wonders wins replay value.
Yep, that too.
Meaningful choice. I'm going to come back to that one, but because I think that's going to be Seven Wonders Duel. Game immersion to Sea Salt and Paper. Again, it's because of those. Again, same thing with Seven Wonders Duel. You can do in the war. You could do the science, and those are kind of cool. But it's basically the same thing. It doesn't lead to those stand-up moments. I think I like the winning aspects of Seven Wonder better than in Seven Wonders than I did in Duel because if you really go heavy into military, you have a good chance of winning military. Military in this one's just a tug of war, so sometimes you just be like, I'm going to take this card and chuck it. This way you don't get the right out win, and I get something out of like a coin. Whereas you're basically now just playing defense to allow me to get away from the I win capabilities.
Sure.
That's where that goes more into meaningful choice than it does into the game immersion, because at that point you're just playing defense, you're not really playing war game.
Right, but the fact that they have 3 different ways to win and or to lose, like you could still be striving to be like yeah, you beat me down because you destroyed me in the war track, but I'm a bunch of nerds, so you're just a bully, right? You know, like it. Like I like the fact that you have those 3 very distinct outlets on how you're going, and I think that's more fun to lose, knowing that I still almost had it trying this track than that. I mean, Sea Salt and Paper, it's
okay. It looks like we're not going to budge on the.
Hold on, you made your argument. I haven't made mine yet.
You already did. You already did your talking.
No,
I haven't done my talking yet.
I haven't broken down a single part of this yet. Hold on now. No, I'm saying like I genuinely think that Sea Salt and Paper, other than that one edge case of winning with the mermaids, it's just like, how do I get my sets to get points? That's like, you're all going towards the same thing. You just did it slightly better than me, right? Like, that's all winning is, other than the mermaids. Now, that memorable moments, I give you that. That is great. But I don't think it's more fun to lose, and I don't think it's more interactive. I really don't. So, and I will not budge on that. So, if you're going to call it a wash, you're going to call it a wash.
That's what I was trying to do, and you're like,
no.
But the thing is, this is my time. You had your time. You flipped the coin.
All
you had your time.
You're
taking away my time.
No, we're deciding now. This is when we talk.
I'm saying I'm just going through the breakdown here.
7 Wonders.
Wait.
Yep.
How did we decide 7 Wonders Duel is moving on?
Okay.
Ease of play is sea salt
paper. Are you
paper.
claiming otherwise?
Replay value is... No,
ease of play is a wash.
No, I said likelihood to get to the table. It is easy to learn, understand, or teach. The simplicity and familiarity of the mechanism and likelihood to get to the table is sea salt and paper. Replay value is 7 Wonders Duel. Meaningful choice is 7 Wonders Duel. You're calling a game immersion a wash.
I'm not calling it a wash. I say it's 7 Wonders Duel. You're calling it a wash.
I'm calling it a wash because I'd rather lose in sea salt and paper. There's more memorable moments in sea salt and paper. And then the player interaction, there's a lot more table talking and not really role playing, but there's a lot more table talk in sea salt and paper because someone's like, don't take that, and then someone takes it. There's trash talking like, why would you take that one? And you're hoping it's coming to you.
No, there's nothing immersive about sea salt and paper at all.
To you, you're putting your bias in it.
There's nothing interactive. I don't feel like I am playing with sea salt and or paper in sea salt and paper. I feel like I'm in a war or building science and all that stuff. So, I mean, if we're going to call that a wash, ease of play is a wash for me too then. Because I do think it is easier to play 7 Wonders than it is sea salt and paper.
All right, we're calling it a wash. We're going to the vote. 7 Wonders moves on.
All right.
I'm done arguing this.
7 Wonders Duel moves on. Where does this go? There it goes. Alright. Our final round, 5 Tribes versus King Domino. And now you're salty because your game didn't move on.
No, I am salty because you wouldn't even let me make my arguments. You interrupted me the whole time. You had your chance to talk.
Replay this. When you listen to this here, the entire time you were breaking it down, I was just sitting back and waiting.
Who gets it? No, you jumped in on game immersion when I was trying to make my points. On sea salt, no. I was breaking it down, saying what I was thinking in my thoughts. You get 5 Tribes.
Alright, 5 Tribes moves on.
Ref.
Lawyer! 5 Tribes moves on. No, I mean, it's a more meaningful choice game. King Domino is a great game. It is easier to play. There's nothing immersive about King Domino at all. Compared to 5 Tribes, they both have expansions. I believe, yes, they both have expansions. There's a lot more to do.
King Domino has 1 plus the standalones, right?
Right, plus the standalones. Whereas, versus...
I think there's 2, because there's the Artisans and the Khala, isn't there? I think there's 2 in 5 Tribes, or is it just the 1 with the mountains?
I think it's just 1.
I can't remember on that one, because I've never played the expansions.
Yeah, well, I don't either, but I do know the fact that each of the each of the characters have their own special meaningful choice. Each of the color of meeples has their own ability. I like that. The djinns that you get have their own special abilities. It gives you a lot of different replayability as far as that goes. The King Domino scales better, definitely, but
yeah,
that's it. But 5 Tribes, neither of them are that immersive. But if there was one that was immersive, it's 5 Tribes.
I will say this, and I have to argue for it. But out of all the games on the list, the driest one here is King Domino because it's basically just area control dominoes.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're trying to be the one with the biggest grouping in a sense.
Sure.
And is King Domino the one where you have to have like a special crown or something like that to score it?
Yeah, so you multiply the number of squares in that group times the number of crowns that are in that group.
That are in that group. If you have a large group and you don't have a crown, you get nothing.
0.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. But and the crowns are more sparse in the ones that have more area because that's their other level of multiplier.
All right, so I have to argue King Domino.
Yep.
It's a much easier game to play than 5 Tribes.
Agreed.
Much easier.
Yep.
Replay value, King Domino has more expansions, but I think the scaling in... Actually, I think that's King Domino, too. King Domino plays in a much shorter period of time, even at a full player count, than, say, 5 Tribes. 5 Tribes can take long. It's one of the more long games on this list.
Yeah, length of time and scaling, well, absolutely, King Domino. 100%.
Which also means expandability goes to King Domino, so...
I'm going to look to see how many... if you don't include like the expand-alones, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna see how many.
It's one expansion for sure for King Domino.
Mm-hmm.
Going to the meaningful choice, that's 5 tribes. There is no doubt about it. Yeah, you're making some good drafting choices and stuff like that. Game immersion.
There's 3 expansions for 5 tribes. There's Whims of the Sultan, the Artisans of Nakala, and then the Thieves of Nakala, which is like
that's a mini expansion, yeah.
Yeah, but it's still an expansion. Yeah. Where King Domino has the sequels and expand-alones that could be put into it. So
length of time in scaling well is King Domino right there. Minimum number of plays for the full experience. I would actually have to give replay value to
5 tribes.
5 tribes now, just because, not just for the minimum number of plays for the full experience, but because the variation of the boards, because you're randomizing the board when you're first putting it out, or the meeples in there. So it's going to make the Moncala aspect of it a little different. When you go into the game immersion, that's 5 tribes, unfortunately. You get more immersive in there. And again, those memorable moments I talked about it the last time we talked about 5 tribes. Mm-hmm. When someone pulls off that really good move and like, no, everybody's at the table like, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, there is, other than King Domino being a very pleasant experience, there's no memorable moments where you go, wow, I stood up.
I played King Domino, I don't know how many times, maybe 4 or 5 times. Mm-hmm. I can't even tell you anything that I've done on my play other than one time where I had a great amount of wheat, never got a crown. Yep. So I had like 10 points in wheat, never got a crown.
Right.
So yeah, and the art and production I think is better in 5 tribes because, again, Days of Wonder.
Well, I mean, we made that counter argument against Shadows over Camelot, though.
Yes.
But now...
But this is newer Days of Wonder, like in the 2010s, with great cardboard.
Like the art and the design that they put into it didn't deter from the theme. I felt it really embraced it. Like
in the expansion, the little meeple mountains. Those
are cool. Yep, those are cool. Yeah, there's a lot of really great stuff in 5 tribes, and there's a reason it's that
I will say there's one issue I have with 5 tribes, and they took it out of the game. If some people have the first printing, you have slaves in there. Understandable historical context, yes. Still, I don't need to see it in my board game unless it's talking about something like that with like Freedom, the Underground Railroad.
Sure. Yeah, it's calling light to it.
But they took it out for the fakirs in future printing. So I think 5 tribes is moving on from what we were just by that breakdown. So
I don't disagree.
So our number 1 seed versus our number 2 seed.
Right? As if anybody could have predicted this, except for anybody who voted for it.
All right. So, son of a...
These are the 2 that are currently tied for our highest votes, but we'll talk about that when we get to it.
I am just going to do something really, really quick, just to make our life a little bit easier.
Okay. You gonna flip a coin?
Nope, I am going to...
Alright, so...
I'm going to put one in the chat, and this way, whoever gets the most votes in the chat breaks the tie on there.
Alright, so, go ahead, if we need... Yeah, go ahead and vote for the one you think it is. We will look at the results in a moment, because there is a tie on the Board Game Revolution group.
But tell them how we do the finals.
But in the finals, we do not debate a side. We will be simply breaking it down category for category. If there's one that's obvious, we'll award it immediately. But whichever one wins the different sides, this will be a very close one, I feel. I strongly feel that it'll be close. And there'll probably be a lot of washes. If we cannot decide, we will go by whatever is the highest vote. But while we're setting that up, Daniel, how many votes did King Domino and Sea Salt and Paper get?
Sea Salt and Paper, which was our number 5 seed, was eliminated, and it got still tied in here, and it went down.
Both went down.
Sea Salt and Paper is at 7%.
Yep. And then King Domino?
Looking that up right now. It was at 10%.
Okay. All right. So now, as if there was any surprise... It is now at the top 2 as highest seeded.
This is what we were worried about, and look what happens.
No, I think you and I, realistically, now that we've gotten that contentious, ridiculous card game out of the way, I think we could legitimately break this down.
He's a play 7 Wonders old. There's too many extra steps in 5 tribes. Okay, we'll break it down real quick.
Yeah. Let me just break it down. And
simplicity and familiarity of the mechanism.
Moncala versus Klondike Solitaire. Probably Klondike Solitaire here in the United States. And that's what we'll go with.
Okay,
sure. So,
likelihood to get to the table.
I mean, Five Tribes is pretty dope looking, right? Seven Wonders is historical.
But not only that, Seven Wonders is a historical board game.
Right.
So a lot of people are like,
right. Like,
I know Seven Wonders.
But here's one thing. I think the one word in that Seven Wonders game that puts people off, duel. I think immediately people will be like, nope, don't want to duel.
Okay.
They'll think it's a fight.
You're a board game teacher at the shop.
Yeah.
And both are pretty easy to learn, understand, or teach. I think Seven Wonders Duel is a little easier.
Yeah.
But out of these two games, which one would be more likelihood to be taught in the shop?
Seven Wonders Duel. Easily. Yeah, hands down.
Seven Wonders Duel moves on, easy play.
Yep. Because for the same reason that I'll be arguing against it, a meaningful choice. It's simple. It's like, choose one of these cards. They're all good. Pick it up.
Yeah.
Do what it does. Yeah.
All right. So next one. Anything else that stands out to you?
Oh, jeez.
I already know one that stands out to me.
I
think Five Tribes is not meaningful choice, but I think it's meaningful choice as well. But replay value, I think, is Five Tribes because one, there's more people who can play that Five Tribes.
Yeah.
Minimum number of plays for the full experience.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what?
But the expansions alone, we just found out there's 3 for Five Tribes.
Agreed. I think there's 3 for Seven Wonders, but even then, 2. It's still.
I know there's 2 for Seven Wonders Duel. It's Pantheon, and then there's that other one. Pantheon gives you the gods, and the other one is the
right. I think
the one that just came out.
It won't sway my opinion, but I do.
Agora, thank you. Masmo's right. Agora.
Oh, thank you, Masmo. Yeah. Right. I just couldn't remember what the name was. Duel.
All right. So meaningful replay value. We're saying Five Tribes.
Yeah, you're right. 2. Meaningful choice. Hold on.
Meaningful choice. I'm going to come back to it. I just had it written down wrong on my list here.
Right.
Game immersion. Which is more fun to lose?
I think Seven Wonders Duel. I really do. Just because you have the 3 different tug of wars that you can do. Like, I mean, you feel very victorious when you pull off one of those, like,
I will give you
ones.
the fact that I think Seven Wonders Duel is a better game to lose.
Right.
Out of the other 2, I'm not sure I think Seven Wonders Duel beats Five Tribes there. Because the player interaction's a little bit better because when someone's like, I know where you're going on the thing, I'm gonna do the Moncala mechanism, do an assassin. I'm gonna take that piece away from you because I see how you're doing your. And so that table talk and the yelling and the trash talking that's going on there. And then again, going back to that, when someone pulls off a really cool move, you're actually cheering them on because it's a really good move.
Right. And Masmo said it perfectly. In Seven Wonders Duel, you always feel in the game. Like, there's never a point where you feel like that you're like, well, I might as well just give up now. You know, and you feel that in Five Tribes, right?
No, I feel that in Seven Wonders Duel. Have you ever played Seven Wonders Duel against my wife?
Well, take your wife outside of it because you're going to lose regardless against her, right? But I'm saying, like, in Seven Wonders Duel, if I see one person really trudging along on one factor, it's like, well, I'm just going to build up on this other thing, and I'm just going to shunt them when needed, right? You always do feel in the game. I agree with you, Masmo.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you on that one, but just the
memorable moments, I agree. That's Five Tribes. Player interaction, though, I mean, neither of them are thematic. I don't know if any of them lead to any more player talk than others.
There is, and the aspect, it's a weird part where I'm saying that I feel the interaction just a little bit better, is the bidding on the turn order. When someone's like, I'm going to bid this, and you reveal the bid, and it's like, oh, you went above me, so now you get to make your choices better, and you had that big move planned out in your head.
But they also spent their points to do it. Yeah. Though. It's like, was it worth it?
Exactly. And so that talking right there, that always, that trash talking there, or because someone was able to do something better and they took the gin that you've been eyeing the whole time and then they took it, you're like, you son of a...
You won me over on that one. I'll give you that.
So Five Tribes on that one. I'm going to go back to Meaningful Choice again. Which one has the better art?
They're both gorgeous, right? You know?
I have no problem calling the art a wash on that because they're both really well done.
Yeah. I mean, the art on both of them are just, they both out.
In all honesty, for me personally, I think one stands out over the other on on art and production, and it's just because I think it's a wash on the art for myself. I think it's a wash on the pieces of component from what you were saying on there. Yeah. But Five Tribes is really good pieces of components too.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, they both do.
The graphic design is much simpler to understand in Seven Wonders Duel.
You think it's a lot more clear?
It's a lot clearer to see. Yeah, because
I agree.
You know which cards are the science cards. You know which cards are the prosperity cards, is what I call them, the blue cards.
Yep.
And you know which cards are the war cards, and which ones are the resource cards.
Just by that, the color of the blood who fought for of those who fought for the freedom. Right.
And just by that alone makes it easier, like to know. Okay, I know I need a certain resource. What yellow cards are out there that I can see? What makes the most sense?
Right.
Or I need victory points. Let me look at the blue card, see what's going to give me victory points. Or I have something that can tie into this blue card. What do I need? Okay, there's that iconography I need.
Right.
So that, for me, like everything else of art and production is a wash, but when we go down to the graphic design, I think that's Seven Wonders Duel. Because you just look at the colors and you already know what you need to look for.
And that's saying it from two colorblind guys. And it's very clear. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree with that. Art and production, Seven Wonders Duel. So right now it's a 2-2, right?
And we got to go to meaningful choice.
So real quick before we do that, Masmo, Heinz, if you're still with us, like vote in the poll.
The vote poll's already done. I only played it for 2 minutes.
Oh, well maybe we should do another one just in case. But no, I don't know. We'll see. Because I want to give them an opportunity.
All right.
So meaningful choice.
We'll do it again.
Okay, we're gonna do it one more time. Luminous, please revote. We apologize. I know you did already. We're going to redo it just so everyone gets their chance. And we're going to try and make sure that it's not a tie.
Because we're sitting at a tie.
We're sitting at a tie as far as everyone else goes.
I swear to God, if you guys vote differently in this one.
Alright, that's assuming we can't take it away from being a tie. But we will have to see.
Plus, I'd like to see what you guys are thinking too.
Yeah.
Alright, there we go. And we'll put it for 1 minute. We're starting it now.
Ready to go. All right. Here's your chance. Right. Anybody else who's in the chat or watching us right now, vote real quick.
I misspelled which again.
That's fine.
All right. So, meaningful choice.
Okay. So.
Impact on other player strategy, which both do really well.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, you had that direct conflict.
Yeah. And it's the push and pull aspect of...
Yes.
Do I take it away from you to get something for me?
Right.
Or do I take something that really helps me, but it could uncover something that does really well for you?
Right.
But if someone moves a Mancala and either makes a more powerful move for someone else or takes away a move from someone else, they're both very impactful on other players.
Right. But also in Seven Wonders, too, right? You have those edge cases where if you're doing like a reverse pyramid... What is the Wit game, Daniel? Right. If you have the reverse pyramid going, right, and I might be compelled to take a card, even if it's not as beneficial, because it won't reveal other cards, purely to force your hand to do it.
Yeah, no, I get that part. But the same...
And that's another next level strategy. It's like, if I move that meeple, right, it's like, will it be the point where you decide to move this to a better situation?
Yeah, and so that's why I'm like, that's a wash for me right there, because both of them have very smart strategic moves based on how you want to impact. And not just that. It's like, when you go into Five Tribes, when it comes to the bidding aspect of things, it's like, do I want to lose my points this way? I have an earlier turn because there's something I see that I need to do, or not. So there's that depth of that strategy as well. Yeah. So I think for the impacting on other player strategy, you could take first player away from someone in Five Tribes. You can force someone to flip cards over for you, which could be beneficial for you. So it's both have an impact.
It's going to happen no matter what, right?
All right. So I already saw the winner on the thing. And
then
I saw it because it popped up on the chat.
Gotcha.
Now we're talking about like the depth of strategy, tactics, or skill. Right. Both of them, you have to be very tactical.
Yes.
I think slightly more on Five Tribes. And hear me out on this. And the reason being is, like, again, sometimes something's going to flip whether you want it to or not. Someone can be strategic about it, but sometimes you're just forced to take the one card that's sitting there that flips the row. And so it can be strategic, but it can also be arbitrary on that aspect because sometimes you just don't have that decision making there. However, in 5 Tribes, the depth of the strategy, you have to pay attention to how the board is changing as you're going. But you also have to pay attention to, okay, I need to make sure I can get to this gen, or I need to be able to get these resources, to use the fakirs to do this or that. There's a lot more, for me personally, there's a lot more depth of that aspect on 5 Tribes. And, and again, it's based on, and not only that, do you use your points to allow you to go first? Or do you save your points and, take it where it takes you?
Right.
And so I give that to 5 Tribes. However, and this is where 5 Tribes loses me. And I know this for a fact because I've played this game several times. The AP destroys 5 Tribes. It can bring that game to a screeching halt.
Yes.
Where 7 Wonders Duel is a very breezy game.
Yep.
So for me, Meaningful Choice is actually really much of a wash, if not a slight turn to 5 Tribes.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Because they're both incredibly tactical. The reason why I think I agree, impact on others and depth of strategy, tactics, or skills are a wash. The reason why I still think it's a wash with arbitrary choices is because AP definitely hurts 5 Tribes.
Yes.
But on the other hand, right, when you have a slew of cards in 5 Tribes and they're ready to go and you know you're going to reveal something.
Or you mean 7 Wonders?
The 7 Wonders, yes, sorry. If you have 7 Wonders and you have a slew of cards, you're like, any card I take is going to reveal something. That is luck immediately at that point. And therefore, the arbitrary might not matter because of what you cannot predict coming up. And because of the fact that you have so many different ways to mitigate it in 5 Tribes with the fakirs and the djinns and all that stuff, you kind of don't at the same time. So you have a little bit more arbitrary choice in 7 Wonders just because the only variance to what the board state is versus what you have control over is your wonders if they're built.
Yeah.
So
and like I said, it's very...
It's very wrong.
And I agree with you, and especially like that arbitrary choice that you're talking about. So it's like, and that card flipping, and I was talking about it earlier, is like sometimes you're just forced to take that card, whether you get it for a coin or you take it into your toll. And the thing about it too is like, and it becomes very lucky when that aspect is like, say you went all heavy in the military and I've been blocking you as we go.
Yeah.
And say I take that one last military card away from you, throw it away to take a coin, and it immediately flips a military card, and it's your turn, and that gives you the actual win.
Right.
It's very lucky on that aspect, because that's happened to me too.
So here's going to be my argument, and this is what I think should win, and I will 100% agree with the poll. I'm cool with calling it a watch, but why I think 5 Tribes should win is because 5 Tribes is only Bruno Cathala designing it. And it would be one heck of a shame giving a dual design based off of not his design to 7 Wonders Duel.
Yeah, but that's not...
That's not... I know. I'm just saying. If that's how the cards lay, that's how they lay.
No, I don't disagree with you.
It a wash. Let's leave it up to the viewers.
So, like I said, a meaningful choice is a wash. Art and production, I think, slightly goes to 7 Wonders Duel. So, on our fan vote over here, it is tied 28% to 28%.
Yep.
So now we have to go to the chat vote.
Which we just had.
View results.
View results. I have not seen these results.
7 Wonders Duel.
7 Wonders Duel. All right.
3-0.
3-0. This is our winner. Da, 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 da. I don't know. I'm trying to do like some kind of like fancy thing. 7 Wonders Duel. Yeah, 3-0. Yeah, that's pretty clear, isn't it? There we go.
Did you vote on this on accident?
No. I did like the post, though. No, honestly, I mean, like, here's the thing. I like 5 Tribes more than 7 Wonders Duel, but I'm trying to argue that the only contention that you and I had is just because I do genuinely think Abyss and Sea Salt and Paper are just really overly convoluted for an unjust reason.
No, our argument was Sea Salt and Paper and 7 Wonders Duel.
Oh, yeah. Well, no.
I'm
saying those are both convoluted.
No, I'm just saying...
But that spilled over into the 7 Wonders Duel.
No, it wasn't an argument there. It's just you wouldn't let me finish my thought. That was my contention.
You were ranting for like 20 minutes at that point. Come on.
I was breaking it down to my argument.
All right, that's fair. All right, fair. I thought we were at that point where we could discuss. Sir. All
We
right,
weren't there
Seven
yet.
Wonders Duel, congratulations. The best Bruno Cathala game. Sorry, Antonio Bowser. You might have had a hand in that. I don't know. We'll see. But either way.
Actually, wasn't Seven Wonders Duel is the other one that has won a top 8 debate before, too.
Probably.
It won 2-player games.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's a solid game. It really did. It's a beautiful design. As Masmo said, yeah. I feel like Seven Wonders Duel is one of the best 2-player games out there. I3. Hey, welcome I3. I didn't even see you sneak in. I played both games years ago. Still remember Seven Wonders Duel. I don't remember Five Tribes. Yeah, that said right there.
Masmo, I played a 4-player game of Five Tribes one day, and it was such a drag.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, and that's why I was talking about, like, I've played a game where we played with a player who has heavy AP, and it just his move took like 10 turns, and all of us were just sitting at the table, like, or 10 minutes, and it's just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
There's like 4 moves over here that are both relatively good. Make that move.
Yeah, just do it, bro. Just do it. So, 2-minute timer, or I'll make it for you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hang around for the after show after this episode, but we're going to give our sound off. If you ever want to email us directly, you certainly can, whether that's to enter a future contest, whether that's to say hello, or give us ideas for future episodes. Email us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com. And by the way, we have an Instagram account. That is instagram.com/everydayboardgames, or just search Everyday Board Games on Instagram. Check us out.
All right, as well as all video re-uploads are found on YouTube under youtube.com/@everydayboardgames. And if you like what we do, there are 3 things you can do to help us grow on that platform. Subscribe if you're not, like the video, and comment down below and tell us your thoughts on the subject. As well as, we haven't mentioned this lately, we are doing reviews now on YouTube, so go over there and check those out.
Yeah, by all means, check those out. We're really excited about doing the most unbiased reviews that we certainly can. And if you want to join us like our friends Illuminous, Masmo, So Very Wrong About Games, I3, Heinz57, and anybody else who I possibly miss, I apologize. We appreciate you. Join us on twitch.tv/everydayboardgames.
As well as you can find all audio versions of our podcast on most podcast platforms under Everyday Board Games Podcast. This includes Spotify, Google, Amazon Music, Podbean, and Apple.
So we want to thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
And remember, every day is a good day for board gaming.